This episode of Blunt and the Beautiful is brought to you by Sukin's signature range.
You know how we don't hide anything? No softening, no hiding the truth. If we're thinking it, we're saying it.
Sukin has the same energy. Their signature range is all about transparency. No hidden ingredients, no mystery formulas. What's on the label is exactly what's in the bottle.
Clean, honest, and actually good for your skin.
Blunt, beautiful, and not hiding a thing.
You can shop for the Sukin signature range at Chemist Warehouse.
You think you understand me?
Hello and welcome to the Blunt and the Beautiful, and I have two beauties with me today, the lovely Tansy Gorman, my daughter, and the very witty, clever and insightful Amanda Goff. How are you?
I love that intro. Thank you so much. Okay.
Well, I could have said much more, but I didn't.
I'm sure you will later
Well,
on.
no. So let's start with that because everyone knows you as Samantha X, the escort. That's how I was first introduced to you online when I did a search. But
That
you
old
are
hooker.
an old fucking bit of stewing steak.
That old trick turner.
Yeah. But you are obviously so much more than that, which, you know, I think that my introduction to you properly was over the weekend reading Misfit, The Unraveling of Samantha X, who is your alter ego in many respects. So you talk about what happens when mental health goes undiagnosed. You talk about your journey through reckoning with Samantha and how do you integrate Samantha into your life and wrestling, I guess, with the behaviours that you did when you were manic. Now, I have to ask you this because you do say you're diagnosed with bipolar 2, which happened at what age?
When was I diagnosed?
Yeah.
I'm 51 now, so I reckon 48, 49.
Okay. How long do you think you had it for?
That's a really good question. Okay, I think I probably had it from a teenager, actually, looking back on it. My behaviour started to be questionable from the age of about 15.
Right. Okay.
I had anorexia for many years and I just started drinking and taking drugs then.
So that's self-medicating behaviour for you. So you've written 2 books before this about your escapades as Samantha X. Were you manic when you wrote those books?
In hindsight, yes, I think I was. I wrote them very quickly.
You're just banging for them. Absolutely.
Like limitless, just.
And it was almost as if I had that chip missing in my brain where, hang on a minute, do you really want to be doing this? You know, because when I look back on those books, my first book, Hooked, was very sexual and very, very cock and pussy. Can I say that?
Yeah, of course, you can say whatever you want.
There was lots of cock, lots of pussy in my first 2 books. And now I look back on my 3rd book. Unfortunately for you, Kate, there was no cock and pussy in there.
No, there wasn't.
She'll be fine.
Yeah.
There was a lot of raw self-analysis, I would say, more than anything. At times, you take us through your moods and the swings and the roundabouts and the shame is a really big one.
Shame's been a massive part of my story.
Yeah, shame is a big one for bipolar patients. I mean, is that something you're still wrestling with?
I think at times, if I'm feeling down, if I'm having one of my down cycles, I can spiral very quickly into guilt, shame, and remorse about my past. Sometimes I'll lie in bed and you know how you suddenly you flash and something comes to your mind. I think, oh my God, there was that headline. Oh my God, what was I thinking? I set up those paparazzi shots. I'm so embarrassing. What have I done to myself? I've embarrassed my family. I don't feel the suicidal thoughts as much now, but I used to really go down that rabbit hole of everyone else would be better off if I wasn't here. I brought so much embarrassment to my family and shame. It was like I killed my kids or something. Shame. But now I'm so bored of feeling shamed, and I've had a lot of work. I see a psychologist and also a spiritual healer, which I find a kinesiologist, which I find amazing. Like it's not just woo-woo stuff.
No.
It's all like tapping and all of that. And I've worked really hard. to do that.
So you were a journalist?
I was a journalist in London.
Yep.
Where I grew up.
Tabloid?
Tabloid, always
That's
tabloid.
a different version of whoring yourself, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Smutty. A lot of cock and pussy there too.
A lot of Prince Harry and some Murdoch phone
Oh,
leaks.
yes.
Yeah.
I used to chase celebrities down the street. And Paula Yates, I chased down the street. Oh, I feel really guilty about that because I remember saying, are you a bad mother? Bob Geldof says you're a bad mother. And I felt very bad about that.
Why did you want to get into journalism and the tabloids in particular?
Well, there was a journalist in London, a very famous one called Kate Adie, and she used to report from war-torn countries. Not that I ever did that. I just went to parties and showed
down Oxford Street. War-torn. Yeah, beautiful.
And it was the time of Princess Diana and Take That and I don't know, those kind of celebrities like George Michael and all that kind of stuff. So I was really, I don't really care about celebrities culture that much, to be honest, but I had to care about it. Yeah. And we did things like chase celebrities down the street, door knock on celebrities' houses, try and lie away to get into their house. And so I was fascinated, and I'm so interested in people's lives. And being a journalist held me in very good stead to being an escort, because when I was with men, sitting with them, the one thing people don't really do with men is ask them a lot of questions about their lives, whereas I was fascinated about why they're here, their feelings towards their marriage, their wives, if they're married, I used to really connect with them on a very personal level, and men just end up telling me everything. So, and that my first 2 books were very much the stories of men.
When you look at something like the royal family and how controlled that media is, and what's your opinion? I'm just asking her opinion on things now. What's your opinion on the royal family with Meghan and Harry being exiled? And, I'm really fascinated because are they leaking stories, dropping stories, the rota, all of that stuff?
Oh, without a doubt, yes, there would be. I'm not a big fan of Meghan Markle because growing up in England, I loved the royal family. I remember writing to Princess Diana once when she had when she was pregnant. I wrote her a little poem. I think it was
so cute.
Her response is, it was well done on the little one. Well done. Let's hope it is a son. And that was my poem. That was my first experience with writing.
I love it.
There it is. She said, I'm ready. Let me in.
My publisher saw it and said, here we have a future.
But it's interesting because, they try and control their, look at Prince Andrew at the moment. It's so salacious and it's so...
I think they're just throwing him under the bus.
Tawdry. And you've had your headlines like that too, that the tawdry sells. And it's not always the truth.
The headlines quite often do not reflect the story.
No.
So, I know that now from again, being the other side of the media, writing now, I don't have control over the headlines.
No.
And there was a headline recently about me, not in the Daily Mail in Australia, but there was a headline about me recently, which almost ruined my life again. It was about bipolar. They wanted me to write about bipolar. But the headline, and so I wrote about my journey. The headline was, I left my husband and 2 children to become an escort, which is so untrue because firstly, I've never been married. And secondly, I would never leave my children. So that was in a UK publication, quite well-known UK publication. It got picked up from all other websites around the world. That headline was out there and I was mortified. So I managed to get the headline changed, but not before, obviously, no doubt my family had seen it and, the consequences that follow with them. That
I feel so misrepresented. I feel like in social media now we see it a lot framed as clickbait, but those tabloid spaces have been misrepresenting, particularly as the tagline for forever, right? To get the sexiest version out there.
For you, before you started being an escort, what was the on-ramping to that decision like? Because were you becoming more wired? Were you becoming more dopamine chasing?
I was becoming more wired. I've never heard it said like that, but I think I was becoming more wired. I was working, at that time, I think I was working at Women's Day magazine, and I was a beauty editor or features editor, I can't really remember, and I was doing 3 days a week in Women's Day, or New Idea, one of those, and then 2 days a week I started to work as Samantha. And then I started to sort of get really addicted to that thrill and the secrecy and the money. Like I was making more money in those 2 days than I was in a whole month of working in the media. And then I got really sick. I remember once I asked my editor for some time off to spend with my kids because by that stage I'd separated and we're doing week on, week off. And I think there was a problem with me taking time off. And I thought, well, fuck this. I'm not going to rely on someone else to let me see my children. So then I started to get into my head, well, if I became Samantha full time, I wouldn't need to. Right, I could, so that's, and once I'd thought of that, I was just gonna do it.
So you said that you named Samantha after Samantha Jones from Sex and the City. Love that.
Fabulous.
Best character. Was never the same.
She was
when
yes, I agree. Yep.
So, I mean, and you still speak of her like a separate personality. Yeah.
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 Well, I am bipolar.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, I don't think from the book that you've fully integrated her yet. I think you should be Amanda X.
I've always hated my surname, so that's okay. I mean, sometimes I think Samantha's the real me, I really do. Yeah, I mean, I said in my book, she saved me at a time where I was really in need of saving. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did wonder that about Samantha, because I was thinking, what can she do that you couldn't do as Amanda?
Everything.
Right.
Make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I have so much confidence.
Yeah.
It was like Mania times 1,000. And I just felt like I was skimming through life and very dangerously. And Professor Gordon Parker, who's my psychiatrist, founder of the Black Dog Institute, he said bipolar, people with bipolar, they're at most risk of harm, not when they're down, when they're high, because you're so disconnected that you really feel you can do anything. And I felt with Samantha, I had that invincibility.
Yeah.
Put myself into some very dangerous situations. In fact, I saw a psychic recently, last week, very good one. I'll give you the details after. And she said to me, she didn't know anything about me, and she said, you've been in some situations where you've been very close to death. And I thought, I really have been. Not so not with men as Samantha, with men, but probably as Amanda more than Samantha.
Do you think that the seeking, like the dopamine seeking, or the power or the permission that Samantha gave you versus having the not so much permission of Amanda, I think that everyone's, from my understanding of bipolar, people chase different things. Did you chase men's approval, or did you chase to control men? Because you do talk about some pretty awful experiences of men's behaviour towards you from being a teenager. Men viewed you as a chattel in some ways. Do you think this was your way to get control?
Probably. And without wanting to say too much about my upbringing, I've never had a relationship really with my mother. It's been very dysfunctional. And there was no mothering really. Okay. And so I got a lot of validation from men. And so that would make me feel happy. And I felt, I confused sex and love. Yeah. So escorting was a very clever way of capitalizing on my dysfunction, really, because I felt I couldn't do relationships very well. I didn't know how to be with people, like just be. And so escorting or sex work was snapshots of very small relationships for me, which was perfect. And I made money from it. So it was really the perfect thing to do with it. I didn't have many tools in my belt, and that was something I could do very well.
With the money, like a bit like being a drug dealer, did you
It is like being a drug dealer.
Did you spend it on shit?
I didn't
Or did you buy a house with it?
I didn't buy Chanel stuff. I didn't buy designer clothes. I bought boobs 6 times.
Sorry? 6 boobs?
Again, Mania. 6 times went bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just had them reduced, and now I'm thinking about going bigger again, but that's just the mania coming back.
Fair enough.
What I did is that it bought me freedom. So I didn't buy things, I bought time.
So tell me, when an unwell state, like when ill mental health is rewarded, like money and attention and adrenaline and stuff, do you think that reinforcement and those rewards kept you going longer before you went and sought a diagnosis?
It's complex because while I had those rewards and it was controversial, I actually really enjoyed the job. I personally don't feel there's anything wrong with it. And I took on a lot of people's shame, particularly people close to me. For me personally, I felt the shame only came from me after when I retired. So I really loved the job. I could do the job. I knew what the job was really about, and that was really overpaid therapy. It was when I got sober. And I got sober from champagne cocaine lifestyle. And when I got sober, that's when my behavior didn't change. And so my psychologist said I still had massive highs and lows. And I thought, well, shit, it can't have been the alcohol. Then I realized it was me. And my psychologist said, I think you might be bipolar. Referred me on to another psychologist, and then referred me on to Professor Gordon Parker, who didn't take long to be convinced. He said the separation of Amanda and Samantha is very bipolar. No, that's...
Yeah.
So what
Very
made you
bipolar.
want to go sober?
Honestly, I was in Melbourne and I was looking out the hotel room, and I thought if this window wasn't jammed shut, I would jump out the window. I was just not in a really good place. And people with bipolar who don't know they have bipolar, they self-medicate. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I thought I was mad. And in a way I was. And, I had a lot of pressure at home, and the work was emotionally very draining. The media surrounding me was very stressful. And I just couldn't cope. Even though on the outside I looked like I had it, confident and...
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, because where do you think the myths around sex work, people see, particularly, and you talk about the oversaturated market now with OnlyFans and girls, turning 18 and joining OnlyFans and monetizing their TikToks and things like that. I mean, where do you think that the sex industry is romanticized or glossed over?
I think these days when you have sex workers online who are counting their money or in Dubai looking tanned and beautiful, and I think there's a real danger of young girls being impressionable. And I was always even in my mania haze, I was very determined not to pretend it was an amazing lifestyle all the time. I talked in my first book about how I got raped by a client, the one and only time. And I talked about the down days as well. But I would hate for young girls to read my books and think, yes, that's what I'm going to do. I always said for an older woman, why not? But for a young girl who's got a whole life in front of her, who if she wants to have kids, to go and have kids. If she wants to I would always say, go and get a career first. I'm very lucky. I had journalism to fall back into.
Yeah, I was about to say,
a lot of people don't, and they leave sex work with nothing. Smart girls buy houses, not Chanel handbags. I know sex workers that own so much property, and they've done it smartly, and then they're out of the industry. But it's very hard to get out of the industry.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because I have a follower who I have talked to offline a few times. She was a madam for a brothel, for a number of brothels in Sydney, and she talks about the difference between the day shift girls and the night shift girls. And the day shift girls were often doing it to pay off a HECS debt or to, and the night shift girls flew a little closer to the sun. I guess for you as a self-employed, worker, you could say when or how much, or you had a little more
autonomy.
agency.
Definitely. I was always a daytime girl, but when I went independent, I very rarely did nights, and when I did, I was having dinner and theatre and
girlfriend
opera.
experience.
Yeah, all the girlfriend. There was hardly any porn star. Men don't even know what porn star experience means.
No,
It's just
Fair enough.
It's just the way girls rip men off to get more money.
Absolutely.
How many of the men were married?
50%.
Okay.
Not all.
Right.
A lot were divorced. A lot had never been with a woman before. A lot had disabilities. They were the ones that taught me the most about compassion, and I really enjoyed my time with them. Some would come with their carers. One of my favorite clients, who's since passed away, his son, actually his adult son, rang me up, and we had a Chinese in the city, and he said, I want you to start seeing my dad. Obviously it's not sexual, but he's got Parkinson's and he just loves women, and he's been on his own for a long time. So his carer would wheel him up into the hotel room. All I do with, I won't say his name, is give him a shower, wrap him up in a white fluffy dressing gown, put him on the bed, and we just have a whiskey.
Oh, beautiful.
Perfect night.
So it's
what a night in.
companionship.
Totally
Mama.
companionship. And then the carer, who's this lovely lady, probably thought, why is she getting $1,500 an hour? I do this at home for like $20.
Yeah, I'm on minimum wage, bitch. What's this about?
Exactly.
He said, just because I don't have heels on. This is ridiculous.
So you've been very blunt about the kind of demand that drives this industry, and you talk about an email that you write to a particular senator who
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you think that men are so absent from this moral conversation? Because I hear all young women, sex workers, real work, and la la la, and all of that. Totally get it, but it's like we're talking amongst ourselves because where are the men in this conversation?
Men don't talk to each other about seeing sex workers. So most clients would never tell their friends they see
This is what I was
escorts.
thinking.
And I think a lot of men, that's a really interesting point, Kate, because I think a lot of men are very angry towards sex workers because they feel disempowered by them in some way, that it's almost holding a mirror to themselves, that you have to pay for sex, even though they wouldn't, I don't need to pay for sex, you should pay me for sex, But I think that you're right, the worst enemy of a sex worker is men usually, because I don't know, maybe they're almost subconsciously disgusted in their weakness.
Yeah.
And that how women it's the one industry where women can make a shitload of money more than them. It exploits men in a way.
Absolutely.
And maybe their ego can't handle that.
I also think it's a shame thing again. It's just like
maybe a
it's
shame
feeling
thing.
emasculated and feeling like admitting to their friends, maybe not while sitting with you or anyone else, but saying to their friends, yeah, I paid to see a sex worker on the weekend. I had a great time.
They won't ever really tell their friends.
No, they might say, I went home with the hottest blonde girl on Saturday night.
Exactly.
But they'll leave out the contextual kind of understanding of what actually happened.
Or they'll say to their men, I went home with a sex worker and we had great sex all night, when really all they did was talk and cry, and that would have happened a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's interesting, you talk about in your book, Misfit, The Unraveling of Samantha X. You talk about the puritanical view towards sex work that, say, in Rome, it wasn't that. It was just, that's her job, and there was no kind of Christian veil, as it were, over the top. Something that's always stayed with me was when Jill Maher, unfortunately, was killed in Melbourne by Adrian Bailey, who had a long history of rape of prostitutes. And he shouldn't have been out on bail, but when he was charged earlier, the different sort of, I guess, sentences for raping a prostitute versus raping just a non-prostitute, a non-sex worker,
based on the court,
meant that he shouldn't have ever been out on jail. Those laws have changed now, but it is still, she was standing on the corner with her skirt hiked up. And it's that kind of thing that they've always been othered and less than. And yet you wouldn't know. I mean, the brothel madam that I was speaking to was telling me that she had a pediatrician doing a day shift to pay her.
You'd be surprised. I launched an escort agency, Samantha X Angels, and I only really employed women over 40. I had someone from the ATO work for me. I had a journalist once ring me up and interview me, and then she rang me later to say, could she become an escort? Wow. I had a doctor. I had lawyers. I had whoever. These women just saw nothing wrong with the job. I mean, I remember going to see a doctor once. And she's a female doctor. Her husband had just left her for a best friend, and she asked me what I did, and then I told her, and then she said, "That's it. I'm going to do that. I stick my fingers up people's bums here all the time."
She said, and I get paid okay, but I think I could be better.
But I've never done that, by the way. Never stuck my finger up someone's bum.
I like what you said before about if you recommended this job to anyone, it would be older women that don't have their whole life ahead of them. But I also think there's a self-assuredness to be like, oh, I know what I'll do and I know what I won't do, and let's just see what happens.
Exactly, and I think they're more, there's lots of mature young people like that, but older women are more self-assured.
Yes.
And have better boundaries.
Of course.
And my busiest lady, I've always said this, was 67, 68. And she was a real white-haired, like spectacle wearing.
Is that a kink though?
I don't know. I think men were attracted to her because she was so wise and bosomly and
yeah.
I mean, one of my clients, I remember once, he got off a plane from Texas or somewhere. He wanted to come straight to the hotel. All he wanted me to do was read him a bedtime story and tuck him into bed.
Wow.
Mum, look at this.
Sukin. This is a sort of skincare that I actually really rate.
Sukin's signature face range is simple, effective, everyday skincare. Australian made, naturally formulated with no harsh nasties.
And that's not all. It's vegan, cruelty-free and affordable. You've got cleansers, toners and moisturisers, everything that you actually need.
No overconsumption, no 12-step routine, and it works across all ages and skin types.
It's what's inside that matters, and you will finish this and then you will repurchase, I promise. And you can find everything Sukin at Chemist Warehouse
Or online.
Do you remember what you read him?
I think I made something up. That was the hardest part of the job.
It's all about, all of it is about mothering though, which is what
It's
you
all
said.
about mothering.
Yeah, because my best friend is a specialist in eating disorders, and she keeps saying, and she's got one of the best track records in Australia for fixing it, but she's like, it's not about the food, it's about the relationship, and it's usually with the mother.
Yeah, I had anorexia as a kid. Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's about control.
Yeah. So I wonder if men just wanted to be
Nurtured.
wet nursed.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a bit Shakespearean in essence, isn't it?
Yeah, they do. Most of them do want to have to be nurtured and nourished, and they're sick of putting on the bravado. Like a lot of men. I mean, I know men pretty well, and I love men more from doing this job because I feel I understand most of them.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that's ever happened to men is the patriarchy. It's just having to pretend to be
Oh, it just
that.
fucks us all, absolutely.
So when you got diagnosed, do you think you would have done this work pre-diagnosis? Or was this a direct outcome of your bipolar diagnosis?
I don't know. I think I always knew I was going to do it. Well, when we used to go on holiday as a kid, I grew up in London, we used to go to France, and I used to see the ladies of the night, as they used to be called, La Femme de la Nuit, on the promenade des Anglais in Nice, and there used to be these glamorous women walking the streets, very attractive, glamorous women, and they would be like all these fancy cars would pull over, they'd get in, and I would just be so transfixed by these women. I had no idea what they were. And then I watched Secret Diary of a London Call Girl, Billie Piper.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's it. And I just really could relate to Billie Piper's character. And yeah, I didn't know anyone in the industry. I came from a privileged family. I went to private school for girls. I was really successful. Well, I was successful as a journalist in London. Working for the Mirror Group. Piers Morgan was my first editor as a freelance. And I just always knew it was there. So I don't know whether that was the bipolar. I have no idea. I think moving to Australia, cutting my ties with London, and trying to live a very normal life with my partner, who's very stable and grounded, having children, having a white picket fence life. I felt like I was in prison.
Yeah.
So Samantha was banging on
She
the door
was.
to come out.
She was. She was always there. So I had, I just, a year after I separated, that's when I became Samantha.
Makes sense.
What you say that you're happy now, but happiness is boring. Because Samantha wants to party, but life is enlightenment, chop wood. Like that's kind of what is a good life to you now that you're stable?
Well, I've met someone in Melbourne. The end of the book, I met someone. Forget him.
He said, add in someone new.
Yeah, and just cross his. I knew I'd meet someone in Melbourne. I've been single a long, 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 long time. And I met someone in Melbourne, and he is probably the first man I've met who has not even really mentioned my part. Doesn't feel it's relevant. So I really enjoy doing normal things with him. I think moving to Melbourne shook my life up a bit, and I needed that. I couldn't stay in Bondi I was there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I work part-time as a Pilates teacher.
Oh, beautiful.
And that's given me a lot of joy, helping people do that.
Yeah, and that groundedness and that flow.
I need that groundedness. I need it.
What's star sign are you?
Pisces.
Oh,
What are
of
you?
course, yeah. Of course, she's a Pisces.
What are you?
I'm a Taurus. Yeah.
Oh, what are you?
Scorpio.
Oh, I love Scorpio. My best friend. Scorpio.
Yeah. Gorgeous little babies.
What is
water babies?
What is the best part of being stable for you now?
The relationship with my children, I think, and knowing that when I say I'll do something, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Even though geographically we don't live in the same state anymore, I'm probably a better parent because I come and see them. We have quality time. I certainly get on a lot better now, particularly with one of them. We have conversations on the phone. And I know I always say I don't want to talk about my kids. I always end up talking about my kids. But I mean, parenthood has been challenging for me because I haven't really had a blueprint of how to do it.
Yeah, okay. Particularly if you had a tricky mother, a chilly mother.
And I haven't had any support, so I've had to work it all out myself.
I think also, and I will say this, and I will stand by this, that having I have ill mental health as well, and having ill mental health has meant that I have been a better parent to adult children than I think I was when they were younger.
That's so true.
Because I can talk about the stuff. I'll go, oh, all right, what the fuck's going on here, Tiger? Because she went to interstate for uni for 4 years, and I think our relationship really got better because of the boundaries.
I went to Launceston in Tasmania for 4 years to do my degree. And I think it got better. This is what I was thinking about before when you were saying that you feel like you're a better parent now, even though you're away. But when you're weller, you're able to be present even if you're not in each other's presence, right? So when you put in that time and effort, you're really there. Yeah. And you're not being like, not that I'm saying you're like this, but you're not being like, what am I doing tomorrow? Yeah. What am I doing later? Oh, I forgot what they wanted me to do, blah, 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 whatever. Whereas like I feel like when I moved away and both of us kind of stabilized out a bit, I was kind of quite mentally unwell through the ends of like my high school life. And then once I moved away and I felt better, our relationship was just 400 times better.
Well, the boundaries just meant that when we caught up, it was important. It wasn't just me fucking being a pain in your ass. You talk a lot about shame, and you know, it's interesting. I've been on social media for a while. I've been cancelled about 20 times. There is no such thing now. I wanted to text you and Instagram message you and go, nobody's thinking about it like that because everyone's so fucking self-obsessed. And you talk a lot about how it's impossible unless you're Kevin Spacey to be cancelled because they're still playing Michael Jackson on the radio. Like people aren't thinking about it. That's the thing. They're just not.
And for however big your audience is, it's still your little corner. Right, and half the rest of the world doesn't know who you are. Exactly. And so it's really hard to get cancelled because all the people who are in your corner don't often leave your corner. Yeah. They're just going to stay there. Yeah. They might be a little quieter for a while.
Yeah. And also, you know, having the discussion around mental health is so important. And, you know, I look at young men in particular, you know, with the high rates of suicide, and I think how many of them are undiagnosed bipolar or schizoaffective or a severe ADHD, which can, you know, the access to mental health isn't there, or if it is there, you are privileged. You can afford to see the private psychiatrist. You're not going to go into a public hospital psych ward because it's very hard that, you know.
Well, I mean, two kids in one of my child's class have killed themselves, and I didn't know it growing up. I didn't know anyone that killed themselves. Yeah, and one of my kids had to go through that twice.
It's just horrendous. It's just horrendous, and I don't know whether it's. I can't work it out because I don't think it's social media.
I don't think it's social media.
I think that is such a fucking reach.
Sorry, Albo. I think it's a bit of a cop out.
Yeah.
I do think kids have less access to community now when it comes to like in-person community and that presence we were talking about before. I think that is less available to them now, from what I've seen. But I also think that, I don't know, kids don't want to talk about their feelings.
Men
Well,
in
they don't know
particular.
how to. Yeah, boys in particular is a really big one. When my son was born, my bestie, who's a psych, I said, "Oh fuck, I'm having a boy," and she said, "Just get the wheel of feel and teaching him the words for his feelings,"
Oh, that's a great
which is a great and
And
lot
boy,
of.
did she. She had that wheel
You
out.
come home and go, "I'm very frustrated," but because men just go to anger.
I'm
all the
upset.
time.
I'm
And there
angry.
are 12 steps to get to I'm furious. Are you disappointed? Are you upset? Are you tired? You know, all of those things. And I mean, you can talk about that more from an aspect of working with men. But I do think that men are underdiagnosed and in some ways undersupported, which a lot of people are going, I'm a rampant feminist, but I do think the pressure on men to be something, and you obviously have seen a lot of that.
I've seen a lot of suicidal men.
Yeah.
I've seen grown men cry a lot, men that you would not expect, like really tough businessmen. And I don't think they expected to cry. I mean, one man said to me once, "I don't think you'll see me again, so I'm going to kill myself." Now, he didn't. But I had to really understand how to draw a line, and so I can't follow it up, and I'm just not. I can't be that person in his life.
I know you called it overpaid therapy, but you're not a psych. You
No,
know?
I'm
You're
not,
like,
I'm not.
Babe, I can't do
No.
follow-up home visits.
No,
for
I
you."
cannot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd never stop.
No, exactly.
So
You run ragged.
Yeah, those boundaries, I guess, would be really
I
important.
had to learn those boundaries.
So when you went back to journalism, did they want to leverage off your...
Well, I never really stopped. When I was Samantha, I always wrote columns on being Samantha, but yeah, when now I write for an online news outlet. No, they actually don't. They actually don't want me to write about Samantha anymore.
Okay.
They employ me as Amanda, and I write my opinion on whatever they tell me to write my opinion on.
Yeah.
And I write as Amanda. Sometimes I will give us a few Samantha stories because I think people will always be fascinated. But no, it's really separate. So I do work as Samantha in the way that I do write erotic fiction on Substack, which I'm building that up.
Okay, great.
Are you on Substack?
No, I'm on Patreon.
Oh, okay. So what's the difference?
The Substack doesn't profile Nazi. I mean, Patreon doesn't profile Nazis. I left Substack because they're kind of not managing right-wing stuff, which is a bit ooky spooky for my followers.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
But I was on Substack, but much of a muchness.
Yeah.
Still a community.
Same. Okay, so Substack. So as Samantha, I write erotic fiction on Substack, and so I keep my toes dipped in there.
Are you going to publish it and sell books of?
Maybe
Because smutty fiction's massive.
Yes,
Huge.
maybe. It's I need to think of another book to write. I need to have a project, but I find writing books very hard. I went to Italy to write my third book, Misfit, to stay with my sister. She lives in the hills. I honestly, by 3 months, I was suicidal. I could not see another olive tree.
Hill,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
could not.
freak out, guys.
I needed life, and I thought I was going to have some fling with some hot Italian. There was no one under 75 with his own teeth, so I was like, "Get me out of here!"
Just you and a truffle pig living your best life.
That's so funny. Do you find that writing the erotica now satiates any of those Samantha X?
No, not
urges at all?
really.
Yeah.
I still think about being Samantha every day, and I just think, especially when the bills come in, I just think, God, just 1 hour would fix this bill. Just 1 hour, just a dinner date. I could go on holiday.
I'm like that with smoking.
Are you?
If they said, right, the bomb's coming, you got 24 hours, I am smoking for Australia. I
Got a
think
pack of
about
Benson and
smoking
Hedges, a Diet
every
Coke and a seat.
fucking day. We
sit
all
down.
have our vices.
Yeah.
I would have a backpack of smokes, no problem.
Fucking hell.
It's not going to pay my bills, but I'll be dead and I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
When did you stop smoking?
10 years ago.
How did you manage that?
The price.
Which was?
Oh, I think the price went from like, you know.
Oh, the price.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the
like $60
price.
for a packet of cigarettes or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was fucking insane. And I just went, oh, no, I can't
Because
just.
you cut down a bit.
I
when
think
the
we're going
tax
through
kept
a
going up.
tricky time financially, and I went, I can't justify that over
Yeah.
an Aldi shop for my kids. you
Well-
know, yeah. Look, you know, I mean, we all have our vices, don't we? But it has been incredible to talk to you,
Oh,
and
thank
it's
you,
been
Kate.
really insightful around the bipolar, and in particular for me, and understanding that mental health aspect. And you know, sex is sex. I don't really give a shit. It's like when I read 50 Shades of Grey, I just went through the sex bits and
I
got
haven't
to
read
the
it.
romances because I just wanted the romance. It's
Yeah.
Mills and
She
Boone.
loves plot, this one.
Yeah,
she
it's all
loves
about
plot.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think kudos to you for being so open and vulnerable. And her book, Misfit, The Unraveling of Samantha X, is a cracking read. You won't regret it.
You
And
ate it in one night, didn't you?
I ate it up. I ate it like a book whore.
Yeah, gobbled it up, didn't you?
Less
you
of the
greedy
whore,
little
Kate.
lungs?
You actually want a job for my escort agency.
On
Absolutely.
my little Kindle, off I went, and I said to Dave, "Put your sleep mask on. I've got to keep reading."
Got my blue light on. I've got to go.
I laughed, had a little cry,
Yeah.
and I felt like we were best friends. So it was
Oh,
great.
okay. Thank you. That means a lot from an esteemed author. So thank you very much.
All right, thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming
Amanda.
in. What a
All right,
joy.
thanks
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.